Hello, everyone. A very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever part of the world you are watching me from. So as David mentioned, I'm going to be talking about Zen Zone. And before we get to Zen Zone working, I really wanted to pay emphasis on what co-working is. So just give me a moment. I'll share my screen. All right. Yes. So let's dig deep into what virtual co-working is and how does our work routine get more and more productive with virtual co-working. And later, once we understand what virtual co-working is, we would also dig deep into what is Zen Zone Co-Working and why did we came up with the idea in the first place. What are we going to cover in the session today? In the half an hour slot, I'm going to be covering, like I said, what is co-working? Do we really need it? And then what is Zen Zone Co-working? And how do you go about preparing for it? And where do you enroll or register for it? So before we begin, let me share my journey as an entrepreneur, or more specifically as a coach. So when I started my entrepreneurship journey back in 2019, by that time, I really had to start working on my business because I quit my job. But it was a complete lockdown, let alone stepping out and meeting people. We could only go out for barely, getting groceries. If I tell you how much time my first website took, you'd be amazed. It took me almost 3 months to launch my first website, and you would understand the reason when I share it. I was working all by myself. Nobody to review, no critic. Yes, of course, apart from my husband, I had no other critic. Because I was very new to business, every time I took a new project, I would get stuck somewhere. I would have questions as to how do I solve that query. I did have roadblocks as to how to do that particular one aspect for my customers, or how do I solve that particular problem, or how do I deal with customers in the first place. As I said, I was very new to business. And like all of us as budding entrepreneurs, I got stuck at every little point where I needed help. I also enrolled in a lot of programs and had support until the program was live, until I had enrolled in the program, which was very new, until it was live and running. I had the mentor support and I did get my answers. But once the program would get a little old, once the mentors would go on doing other projects, other programs, the support and the mentors would become a little unapproachable, and I understand that. Now, at that point, the only solution I had as an entrepreneur was, if I wanted constant support at that point of time, the only solution I could think of was to join a paid community. And honestly, I did not have the funds to join such a community back then or even now, because such communities who do offer constant support are very expensive in nature, because the kind of value they bring to the table, I understand the cost attached with it. What I am saying is, I wasn't in a position to pay funds for such a community. So it took time, but I figured all on myself. I had to, instead of paying the amount or the funds, I had to give in my time to understand and do it all by myself. Now, when I joined Zenler and I saw the concept of Zen Zone Co-Working or virtual co-working as an additional support, I really loved it. And here, I'd like to be a little honest with you. I was also very envy in the beginning that why didn't Zenler start this Zen Zone Co-Working when I was starting out in my business, when I was struggling all by myself, to be honest there. Now, before we go forward and understand what is Zen Zone Co-Working, let's dive and see that what is virtual co-working, or what is co-working for that matter. Yes, co-working is a concept. Virtual co-working is a concept that is coming up. Now, in general, co-working is a physical space where you own a desk, a table, a cabin, or any small space that you can call your office. Because here the same thing applies, so that you do not have to pay a rent for a bigger space and take all the burden. You pay a very small amount and you occupy a small space which you can call an office and work peacefully with concentration. Similarly, when we come to virtual co-working, here you meet new people, new faces every day. And I would like to add, even in a physical co-working, when you're working together, co-working is working together with different people. So when you do work in a physical co-working as well, you do meet different kind of people on an everyday basis. But you can only meet those people who are in that particular area, location, or maybe for that matter, that country once in a while. But when similarly, when we come to virtual co-working, it is a concept where your small space that I just mentioned about becomes your Zoom link, or it becomes your Google Meet platform. In case of Zen Zone Co-working, we use Zoom. It becomes your live streaming platform wherein you can see each other's faces. And this time, it is not restricted geographically. The globe is the limit. And as a part of Zenler Co-working host, I have built beautiful relationships. I will be sharing a few examples of the Zen Zone regulars that come in. Hannah encourages me to be consistent. Carmen's book writing experience is an additional help for me. And I love Nicole's dancing, strategies that she shares with us, or pictures and the shoes she always has a background. And I'm always amazed by Jim's retirement calculations that he keeps sharing with us. And the list is endless. And trust me, the experience is priceless. All of this I've experienced as a host. You can only imagine how do the members, the fellow educators bond and grow themselves and become more and more productive with their sites. Now we come to the next question, which is, do we really need a co-working space? Now, that's a question which is very subjective to each individual. You can answer for yourself, and I can speak for myself. So after you look at this presentation, if you look at whatever I share with you, my own experience, it is your call to decide whether you need a co-working. So for me, like I shared in my story in the starting, I really needed one. And even now, I think I really need a co-working. I'm often a seeker for planning and to-do list. I really like to scribble down a night before that what all do I have to accomplish the next day. I list all my priority tasks at the night and I number them, which is the first one, which is the second one. And whichever I'm not able to complete moves to the second day with an uncompleted task and becomes a priority task in the next day. Now when I am a part of Zen Zone Co-working, now I prepare two kinds of lists. One list contains all the kind of social interactions, all the kind of people interaction, the meetings that I have to do in the first half. Zen Zone Co-working usually runs in the afternoon or the evening slot. So at that point in time, I keep all of my zoned tasks, the tasks that I need complete concentration and focus at. For example, writing articles or maybe writing content, any sort of focused and zoned task I keep for my later half while I'm hosting the Zen Zone Co-working. And I, as a host, have got so much done in Zen Zone Co-working. Like I said, you can only imagine how much would have these Zen Zone educators done for themselves. I will also be sharing one example when I share after this. I have completed, writing articles, stories, and also brainstorming new ideas with the Zen Zone educators that join in. Like I was sharing Jim's calculations and Carmen's book writing techniques. I've learned so much as a host. And now I'd like to share an example of one of our regulars. You can see on my screen, Carmen. She's a regular in Zen Zone, and she shares on our community. I love those co-working sessions. I get so much work done during this time. In addition to working on my new Zenler website, I was able to get the third edition of my 2 books completed, Priceless. Thank you, Manmeet and Liz. And she also shares a screenshot while she's in the session. So that's the kind of value that Zen Zone Co-working brings on the table. But at the same time, like I said, everybody has an individual experience, and this answer is very subjective to each individual. Now that we've discussed about what is virtual co-working, let's understand what is Zen Zone Co-working. All right. Okay, I'll also share about how do we prepare and how do we function. So Zen Zone Co-Working is a space for entrepreneurs looking to get support and get their tasks done and be more productive with their sites. Now, one important thing to mention here is this is not technical support. We try to support you with, Zenler Insight technical knowledge as much as we know and as much as our knowledge permits. If it gets too technical or if it is something that we don't know about, we will always recommend you to write to support and get the best help where the experts are. But we try to support you as much as possible as our knowledge permits. The only thing that we focus inside these Zen Zone co-working sessions is to be more productive and get the task done faster. Now, like the slide says, how do we prepare and how do we function? It's very, very simple. First of all, there is no huge list of preparation points. Just one. You need to have a tiny goal to achieve during that time. And while you are at it, wherever you are stuck, we are there to you, to listen to you, to help you out, and to suggest you. So that's just one thing. You need to have a goal. And even if you don't have a goal, you can step in, talk to us, and we can together decide a goal for you during that time. Now, how does Zen Zone function? It runs for 4 hours in a single session. We run 2 days, that is Thursdays, 3 p.m. BST to 7 p.m. BST, and then we run on Saturdays, 5 p.m. BST to 9 p.m. BST. You can join us through a common link, that is a Zoom link that all of you would get upon booking the slot. Now, the next question would be that how do you register and hop on a session? So just give me one moment. I'll be sharing my screen and taking you through the tutorial site, which David was just sharing about. Just give me a moment. All right. Here we are. All right. So as David was sharing about the tutorial site, we have Zen Zone on the tutorial site, and here is the URL, which is tutorials.newzenler.com/courses/Zen Zone. So when you get to this page, first here we have a lovely video by Liz. She's sharing that what Zen Zone is and how it can support you. So I definitely recommend you to watch this video. When you scroll further down, you will see that we've mentioned much in detail that how can you get the best help from Zen Zone and how can you get started. The two most important things that you have to look out for, first is the timing. A lot of times what we get as a feedback is that the time gets confusing because we do understand we have a global audience and the time zone could be an issue. We have faced it ourselves. So to counter that, we have got the time slots right on the homepage. So when you come to the homepage before registering for the session, these are the 2 slots that we run in, that is Thursday and Saturday. Here is the time that we run in officially, which is the BST time zone that Zen Zone runs in the official time zone. And the second is your time. Now, I'm in India, so it shows that what time is it for me in conversion to the official time of the Zen Zone. For me, it is 7:30 p.m. Similarly, when you get to this page, you will be able to see that what is the conversion for the time zone in your country in relation to the official time zone of Zen Zone. And then you can decide whether you would want to book a Thursday slot, if you would want to book a Saturday slot. We would love if you book both the slots. Also, there is no rush of being there for complete 4 hours. There is no pressure. Like we said, we want you to be more and more productive. You want to attend for 1 hour, we would happily host you. If you would want to be there for 2 hours, again, and even if you would want to stay for entire 4 hours, that's the best case scenario we would love. So no rush, no pressure. It is completely as per your convenience and as per your working schedule. So as the first step is you look at the time and you decide that what is the time you can allocate for Zen Zone and when would you be willing to come and work on your tasks that you've set for Zen Zone Co-Working. Now, once that is done, the second thing is register for Zen Zone. As soon as you come to this page, you will have an option here to enter your email ID. So I'll just enter my secondary ID. And here again, it shows me this page wherein I can book for Thursday and book for Saturday. While you are on this page, I definitely recommend you to go down and read the reviews the Zen Zone regulars have put in, so that it gives you a little more option to decide that, is this what you're looking for? Is this what you were wanting to do for a long time? So once you come here, you click on book for Thursday. And similarly, here is Saturday. Okay, I think I've booked for Saturday as well. So my spot is booked for Saturday and it's booked for Thursday as well. Now, the best thing, in the best case scenario, we would want you to book the slot is because we do know that, when you book the slot, you do have the intention to come in and maximize your efforts in Zen Zone Co-Working. But while we get busy with our tasks, while we get busy in our business, it is very human to skip it. So that's why we make sure that you attend Zen Zone Co-Working. That's why we send you 2 reminders just before the session is about to go live. One email just when the session is about to go live and one email when we go live, so that if you've booked your spot, we immediately remind you that you had set an intention for this, so that you do not skip what you had set your goals for. This is the first thing that I would want to recommend you. Book your slot so that you can be reminded by us that Zen Zone is about to start. The second thing that I would recommend you is, when you go to the new Zenler group that you are a part of, and if you go to the featured section, before we start a Zen Zone, like you see a post here, just before Zen Zone is about to start, 10-15 minutes before that, we always put in a post and a link here for everyone who is aware about Zen Zone, who has heard about Zen Zone in the last couple of days, but they did not get a chance to book their slots or did not get a chance to go through the tutorial site. We do put a link so that you can come experience for yourself and you do not miss the option of attending a Zen Zone Co-Working. And once you have done this, I definitely at the end recommend you to book your slot, because if you miss booking your slot, the Facebook feed is busy at times and this post could be skipped. So this is for people who have heard it in the last couple of days but did not get an option to book it on the tutorial site. Once you join through this link and you've attended Zen Zone, you've seen the magic it does, definitely go back and book your slot so that you do not miss it in the future. I have one more resource for you. The last question that I wanted to share with you is that, how do you decide if Zen Zone Co-Working is for you and whether you would want to go for it? So last month, A Day with Zenler, we did a session with all our Zen Zone regulars. I'll share the link of this video. When you scroll down and see, that's the I recommend you to watch the entire second half session, because we had enormous value coming in from everybody who was in the second half. But especially taking a little bias, I would want you to go to this time slot wherein Liz and me are talking about the Zen Zone experience. We had all the Zen Zone regular here. We had all the Zen Zone regulars here who have been joining Zen Zone regularly from the time we've started. Initially, we were running 3-hour slots. They used to stay for 3 hours. Then we started 4-hour slots, and now they stay for complete 4 hours. So go watch that video for 1 hour. You will see a conversation brewing between friends, just like, sitting in a cafe. That's what we've built as a part of Zenler Co-Working and the kind of work we have done while we've been running this virtual co-working sessions. And very soon, I would have my partner, Liz, coming in and joining me on this slot, because I think Zen Zone Co-Working would be incomplete without Liz. So I would just be waiting for her to join in, and she would also like to share her experience as a host and how Zen Zone Co-Working has benefited her and what is the kind of magical experiences she has seen while interacting with all these Zenler educators. So I think she's going to pop in just in a few minutes.
Yeah, Liz is coming on at 10 o'clock to do 1 hour's meditation. So I don't know if she knows to come in a bit earlier.
Yes, yeah, she does.
Oh, she does.
To her. Yeah,
Where is
she's
she?
right here.
Oh, there she is. Okay, you got it sorted. Good. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me.
Oh, I just decided it because while I was preparing my content, I thought that I couldn't do it without Liz. This is Zen Zone Co-Working is as much as Liz, as much as mine. So I thought I'll quickly message her up. And while I was doing the presentation, Liz confirmed. So I was like, yes, we are doing it. It was very last moment.
Right, she'll be popping on in a second, I think. There we go. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, so good, thank you. And you?
I'm good too. I was just talking about virtual co-working and then Zen Zone co-working. And like I was sharing with David that, Zen Zone co-working slot would be very incomplete if I did not have you in it. So I have, been sharing for the past 20 minutes. I've been sharing that what is the kind of experience Zen Zone has had on me, the kind of relationships I've built, the learning that I've taken home from it as an host. And what is that, the Zen Zone educators, Zenler educators have been experiencing. I've been sharing all of that in the past 20 minutes. We would really want your take as a host and also as an attendee that, what is your experience as a part of Zen Zone virtual co-working?
Okay, awesome. Yes, and thank you for doing the slot so far. It's amazing. So for me, Zen Zone as an education support person in there, it's beautiful to be able to support all of the wonderful people that come into that place. And we get to kind of hold them and support them to help guide them perhaps to the next stage, just to give them feedback on what they're doing. And it's so lovely because you can work like one-on-one with people. Depending on the size of the group. Obviously, as it's growing, the one-on-one time is going to be smaller. But then we're all there as a group, as a collective, to be able to support. So you can really get that sort of instant feedback on things. So if you're working on, for example, like a challenge, something like that, and you're doing, your front page, it's awesome to be able to get that initial feedback from people that may be your kind of potential clients. It's that kind of audience. So you can get that feedback straight away. And they're like, oh, well, I can't really quite read that text, and it's stuff like that. It can be quite detailed, but within that lovely supportive space, because we're all in the same boat. We're all part of, the Zenler users, the Zenler education team, and we're there to support each other. And for us as educators, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Mummy, it's so nice to be able to give that support. The Facebook group is beautiful, and obviously we can do like little bits of support in there. We do like these things like the day with Zenler, but to actually be able to connect with you, the same as in like the Zen chat, it's so nice to be able to see you, to speak, and actually put a person to that little emoji or little picture that you get in the Facebook group.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah, so I think it's support. And I think for the people that have been in the sessions, they appreciate that support, because you can feel very lonely working, in your little home office. So my desk is in the corner of our sitting room. I've just thrown everyone out of here again now so I can be live. But it can be quite lonesome because it's just you and it's your screen. And I think having those regular sessions, it first of all helps people actually do some work on their own bit of work rather than just serving clients all the time, which can be easy to do. But when we're working on the new Zenler stuff as well, you're working on your site, you're working on your course, you're working on your challenge, your webinar, whatever it is you're working on, then, it gives you that space and time to actually do that for yourself, which then is for your business, which then ultimately is for your clients as well. So it's that space, that time, that support, and giving clarity, because I think it's easy to become overwhelmed. And especially if you perhaps are beginning right at the start with your new Zenler work, there's such a lot of information that we have for you, such a huge amount of resources and support, that sometimes just someone to say, do you know what? Just do this one next thing. Just this one first step, and then it gets you going, and then you build the momentum. And then if you keep popping back into the Zen Zone sessions, you keep having our support. and there's definitely a big community feeling within our regulars that are there, and obviously some of the new people are feeling that right from the beginning.
Yes.
So I think, it's such an awesome thing. I love being part of it.
That's absolutely true. I think I would very much agree with you what you said, that, a lot of times people are not really able to bring out time for their own sites. Like they're always working for that client. So this is also a time wherein you dedicate for yourself and you tell yourself that, this is to be done for my own self and this is the time I need for my own self. So that's also one added advantage of a Zen Zone co-working that we've seen that people have achieved. I really wanted to, this is a question. I was, when I joined in and I saw, like I shared in the presentation also, there was a little bit that, why didn't Zenler have, and I was struggling when I was working all on my own. So did you also get this feeling that, why didn't you get such an opportunity?
Yeah, and it's quite funny because I've been part of loads of different, sort of leadership stuff and community stuff, over the time. And there were spaces like this, but they were different. And I love how we've created ours because you get to bring what you want to bring. So it's completely personal to you. You bring whatever your work is. You have your personal goal and that's what you're working on. So there's no, we're not boxing you in any way. It's like break all those boxes away and do what is best for you. And I think that's what I love the most about it, is that there is the support. There's that sense of being part of a team without having to actually be there in a team. I love that it's international. I mean, if you look at the distance in miles between where we are right now, and right now we are both speaking live, supporting people who are also international. And
yes,
it's amazing. And I think to have that virtual co-working, it's a bright side of what's happened over the last bit of time, is that we've really gone deeper into what can we do? How can we support you? What are the extra things we can give you to make your life as easy and effortless as possible? Because after all, that's what New Zenler is about, is making it easy for you. So, our spaces get to support you in whatever unique, part of your New Zenler journey you're in. So, I would have loved it when I first started. And I love how free it is. And also it's free. This is fabulous support. I know there's many different areas. You can pay a lot of money for that kind of group co-working environment and that kind of resource. So absolutely enjoy it, use it. And just get the best of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. And with that, both of us would really recommend you to book your slots Thursday, 3 p.m. BST and Saturday, 5 p.m. BST. So both of us would be looking forward to host you in the session tomorrow.